about the mentorship, because one or another, this mentor really acted like a counselor, like a support system for me as well. So shout out to you, my patron, my mentor, because you have totally changed my life.
Amazing.
The way I think about life, the way I see things, the way I respond to issues, because sometimes you go through life and until you meet that one person who actually goes like, hey, there are things that may have been dysfunctional, there are thoughts that may have been dysfunctional that you have had before, but you are seeing a different perspective, you're seeing a different way around it, and that is what this mentor did for me. And I'm ever grateful for that. So the way I think about life right now, the way I approach things, whether it's conflict, whether it's relationships with people, is heavily relied upon how I was mentored.
All right. Let's see if Anna also has one that changed your life perspective, even as now we understand. You make us understand a particular relationship. Many times, maybe people might think that when you're speaking about relationship, of course, we are going to the other side.
You know, romantic relationship. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Sesmo. So for me, I've also had a very incredible interaction with people, and of course, things happen. And what I believe, or rather, how I look at it, is that I don't see the negative part.
Right.
People come and go. People come, hurt you. But the most important thing, how do you view that later? What lessons do you pick from that? And I believe that the people I've had relationships with, either romantic or the people who have maybe helped me to be where I am today, I'm super grateful to them, especially my boss, Madam Becky. She's my mentor. She's also a psychologist, and for sure she has helped me to be where I am and to be who I am today. So yeah, I've had a super relationship with people, and I've really learned a lot, and that has also helped me to become emotionally intelligent, to know how to handle conflict, to know what to do, to know how to handle things, and yeah, I can say that it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are not saying that we now seek relationship to mentors.
No, no, Moses.
Okay.
No, not really.
But now in the context of understanding this particular relationship.
Yeah. Okay. We are talking about relationship. It does not. It's not necessarily about a romantic relationship. It can be a parent relationship, a guardian relationship, that relationship you have with your colleagues, your friends. So yeah, it's general. It's not specific at intimacy or something. No, it's something general.
I'd just like to add to what Anna said and say that often when we think about relationships, we romanticize everything, you know, and I think it's very important to build relationships. Yes, romantic relationships are very important, but so are other relationships which are very important, you know. Often when you talk about narcissism in relationship, this particular person wants you to cut you off from your support system, away from your family, away from your friends. You see, so it's very important to maintain a wholesome, holistic kind of a relationship with people, not just romantic relationship, you know.
Actually, to add on narcissist, you know, for a narcissist, he or she makes you stop living your life and you start living their life, you know. Now your life stops and your whole life revolves around them. And just like Moraa said, they stop you from interacting with your friends. They even tell you, I don't want you to talk to so-and-so, I don't want you to maintain that social group, I don't want you to, you know. So that's very important because you see, if you're still connected to your family, your friends, they're able to be your other eye and to tell you, you know what, you're not in a healthy relationship, you're in a very toxic relationship, or they're able to help you come out, because the reason why narcissists disconnect you from your social support is that whenever they manipulate you or whenever they let you go, you have no one to hold you, you have no one to support you, you have no one to tell you that you're going the wrong way or you're in the wrong relationship. So that's why they really disconnect you from people and from, you know, your family and friends.
Yeah. But just to say, we do have as well healthy relationships as well.
They are there. Very healthy.
I think Anna also should be given an award because the time we were discussing about narcissistic relationships, of course, in the time ulikuwa unazipiga sana.
Yeah, sure.
And you made many people understand how these affect them. Earlier on, we had mentioned something about the support system. How do we break that? The support system around the relationship, then many a times it's really good to embrace that, but at some point, if there are things that are coming into that particular relationship, they are killing. Maybe if it's the family support system that you wanted to take care of you, then it ends up messing up.
I think first of all, we need to recognize how crucial family is, and how crucial family is, especially in the way you view relationships, in the way you view yourself in a relationship and other people in a relationship. Parenting especially, or the first people who showed you love, or the lack of love, play a big role in the whole aspect of how you view people, relationships, and all that. And I'm sure Anna would agree with me here, yeah?
All right, so what kind of relationship you want us to discuss? Is it the family or...
They are all
Actually,
connected. We
yeah,
cannot
and it
talk about
starts from
one
the
without the
family.
other, honestly, Moses.
sure.
We cannot. So if you're going to talk about romantic relationships,
That's true.
why do you choose certain kind of people? Why do you gravitate towards a certain kind of personality? What draws you to that? Is there a familiarity that your mother or your father had, or your guardian, whoever was your first contact in terms of love and connection and intimacy? You understand?
Right.
Yeah, so all these things, they are connected, so we cannot do the one
All
without
right.
the other.
The topic of today, we had relationship, and we had change, and we had perspective.
Yes.
So how do we help the viewer to understand the breakdown between all these, even as we embrace now this particular conversation? I'm seeing Anna, of course, holding in the...
And it's ready with some Tamla. What's happening, Anna?
All right.
All right, I wanted to add on what Moraa was.
Okay, with the counselor.
Yeah, with the cups.
All right.
So Moraa said that either these healthy relationships that we see, or the toxic and the weak relationships that we have, it starts from how you're brought up. It starts from your family. It starts because before them there was you. Before them there were you came from somewhere. You came from a family. And I think it's high time parents should understand that it's not all about providing materialistic things for your child. It takes more than that.
Right.
And let me demonstrate something. Maybe you're a parent who believes that my child only needs the financial support, the school, everything is catered for. There's the house manager who is taking care of your child. It takes more than that. It takes the listening ear. It takes the emotional support. It takes the love, the affection, the attention, the validation, you see. And if your child misses that, because so many parents nowadays are very busy, wanatoka mtoto akiwa amelala, and they come back when the child is still asleep. And what happens if you raise a child, when you give birth to a child, they come as empty as this tumbler, right? And it's your duty as a parent to fill into their lives, all right? If your child grows up without those important things, the validation, the affection, the attention, the love, let them feel that, what,
All your love?
mommy?
All the love from the parent.
Yeah, love from the parent.
All of it.
Sorry?
The tumbler is empty, so all of it.
It's just that I didn't have enough water, but anyway. Yeah, so, all right, so when your child grows up without those important things, thinking that providing materialistic things and the gifts and taking them out and is really filling in their lives, you're wrong. Because when this child now starts to recognize themselves and they're at a point where they need a romantic relationship, or whichever relationship they're going to... Yeah, sure. All right, yeah, in a romantic relationship or a friendship, just any relationship, any kind of relationship,
Okay.
either the same gender or the opposite gender, and the person provides them with things they missed, things they yearn to be provided with. They fall in love, not with the person, but they fall in love with what they're being provided with. Remember, these are the things that they missed, and that is where you find out in most relationships when you break up with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, or maybe when you separate with your girl best friend, you feel empty. Why? Because they already, they took away all the things that they were providing, and it remains a void. And one thing, disadvantage about voids is that when you place something in and then you remove it, it still remains that. And these blocks and your wanachezianga, if you try to remove a piece, ile kujenga, if you remove a piece, it collapses. So that is what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to pick from what Anna
All right,
said,
all right.
intimacy is a very important it's a psychological need. Let me just talk about, there are 5 psychological needs. We have safety, we have trust, we have esteem, we have control, and we have intimacy. STECI, the Stacy. Okay. Now they are all connected, interdependent to one another, with one another, so that in a way that if you don't feel safe, you don't feel intimate or connected to someone. There's this amazing life coach called Spirit. She uses this amazing analogy when it comes to intimacy. It says, into me see. It's all about you see me for
that is nice.
exactly, you see me for who I am. You see my truth, because that is what intimacy is. You see vulnerability, and you're able to say, I will not judge you. I will not throw you away because or feel some type of way because you have shown me the truth, your hearts, your vulnerabilities, you know.
Indeed.
But someone has to feel safe. They have to trust. They have to have their esteem as well. Because a lot of times you realize that people who put others down, who are not able to connect with others, or even to themselves, their self-esteem has an issue there. You understand? They do not trust themselves. Remember, trust is a psychological need. Levels of control. How much control do you have over your environment? You understand? Yeah. So all these things come together and they inform the type of intimacy you have, the type of connection you have, the type of attachment that you have. So again, intimacy is a primal need, and we are predisposed as human beings to connect to other people. And when we do not connect, there is a dysfunction. There is a big dysfunction.
Indeed.
Yeah. Even biologically. Yeah,
Of course, in the light of this conversation, we'll also need to understand the priorities set into different particular relationships that are there. Maybe the priorities that I give to this particular relationship are not streamlined in a proper way. That is why we're having violence every time. And then also, as we also delve into the conversation, I would really want to understand the aspects on prioritizing a particular relationship. When we're speaking about this relationship, are we also measuring about love?
Love in what aspect?
A relationship is built by love.
More than love, honestly. There's so much that goes. Love is I mean, again, what does love mean? You know, because there's a difference between attraction and love.
Attraction and
You
love.
know, we can, and
Attraction
that
is
is
feelings.
in terms of, you know, that is in terms of a romantic relationship in that essence. Understand?
So you might be attracted, but not in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you build that to make sure that after all, if I'm attracted to Anna, I'll also love Anna, then we can create a perfect relationship.
You cannot give what you don't have. Let's start there. Understand, Moses?
You can give love, but you don't give attraction.
No.
No?
If
Give love.
if you are to give love, if you are to offer love, you have to be love. You have to have love. You cannot give something that you don't have. In the same way you say hurt people, the same thing goes. People who are full of love give love.
All right.
They embody love, they give love. That's what it's all about.
So that is why we are having a crisis in relationships.
Yes.
All right. So how can we make sure that despite the fact that I am be love and I am love and I'm putting out love, so how will I learn and adapt if I didn't have that? There is always a moment of change and a moment to maybe have this sense of comfort, to have the same reflection. Yes, maybe me wazazi wangu walikuwa wananitwanga vibaya
Yeah,
sana,
nile
there
proper,
wasn't love, nini,
yeah,
nini.
yeah.
Kama uta nini lala inje, you know, those kind of things. So how do we learn and adapt in that environment of relationship, then embracing all this to become a perfect love?
First of all, Sesmo, if I came from a dysfunctional family, of course it's going to affect me in my relationship. Not only intimate relationship, but other so many relationships,
Okay.
even at the corporate level, even at the workplace, even when buying scurry, you know.
The way you unaongelesha mama
vile
mboga.
naongelesha mama mboga kwa matatu, you see how you talk to people, nisonge, you know, it starts from family. But Sesmo, if I have a problem, or rather if I know that I was brought up in a dysfunctional family, if I know that I was brought up in a family that instilled values, that instilled teachings in me, and I know that things are not good, I know what I received is what I'm bleeding. I know what I received is what I am projecting to other people. And that's why we're usually told that do not bleed on people who do not hurt you. First, heal yourself. So the first thing to do is be self-aware. You know what that relationship, that parent relationship, that guardian relationship, that family relationship did to you. And of course, it can show, or rather it can project in your social circles, in how you interact with people. So number one, be self-aware. Number two is seeking therapy. Therapy is very important. I usually tell my clients and so many people I interact with that whatever happened to you was never your fault, but your healing is your full responsibility, and you need to first forgive yourself. Forgive that whatever happened, what, I had no control, but I have control of how I am going to carry things onwards, how I'm going to interact with people, how I'm going to become the best version of myself. That's what I have control over.
What do you think we are speaking about heartbreaks in these relationships?
So in terms of heartbreaks, when you meet people you're not compatible with, you will experience a heartbreak, because it you get to a point where you're not meeting the needs of the other person, and then you cannot be able to be together anymore. And again, sometimes it's not about need, it could be circumstantial, So in terms of compatibility, of course, you need to understand. There's a lot of layers to this, but let me talk about compatibility first, you need to understand how compatible am I with this person I want to be with, are there things that we share in common? What are our values in life, in terms of, there's this acronym, again, love using acronyms, it's called RISE, R-I-S-E-S, yes, RISES. Recreationally, do you guys share the same things? Like, we wanapenda kwenda out, we wanapenda kwenda picnic, where hiking is such a terrible idea for you, but you won't spend a lot of time together to experience one another and to know each other. Understand?
Really?
Yes. Intimacy. I is for intimacy. Your levels of intimacy. How are you vulnerable? How are you connecting with each other? Okay. Spiritual connection, compatibility, very important as well. Spirituality is not fully about religion and what you believe in, it's also your sense of purpose. Okay, what do you think about life? What are your philosophies around that? Emotional connection, emotional compatibility as well. How do you deal with grief? What are your levels of emotional intelligence? Your self-awareness, what does that look like for you? Okay, and sexual compatibility as well. Sexual, yeah. But so rises, you also have to be compatible in all of these aspects,
And of course I know there is someone who will ask, how will I know that he is the right partner for me? How will I know that she is the right partner for me? Okay, we are usually told that, of course, you have your ideal type of a partner, and there is no perfect partner. That's what I tell you. There is no perfect partner, And I think what should guide you is that you should know your deal breakers. You should know what you want to see in your partner. You should know, what am I expecting? And again, after you find all those kind of things, you ask yourself these three questions, because there is no perfect partner. There are three things that you shouldn't compromise. And of course, even in your deal breakers, kuna zile uta compromise, lakini kuna zile important, like communication. It's something that if you compromise, it's going to mess you up. So ask yourself these three questions. The partner I have met, or rather the person I want to be in a relationship with, is he or she a person who can listen? Can they change? And are they comfortable with who and where they are? Because believe me, Sesmo, a person who cannot listen cannot change, of course. A person who cannot change for you, we know we are usually told that we change for the people we love. So if your partner is not a person who can change, it becomes chaotic. And the last one, are they comfortable with who and where they are? I'm comfortable with where I am right now. You cannot relocate me and take me to another city. Why? I'm very comfortable. So it's very difficult to change a person, or rather it's very difficult to tell your partner that, what, this behavior is really hurting me. He cannot see it. He cannot see it. He's like, or rather she's like, what are you complaining about?
And if I may, for you to even have the boundaries, for you to even have all these things that you're saying, you have to really understand what do I want. So the aspect of self-awareness is a big part on how you relate with people and when you're in a relationship as well. And just to add to what you're saying also, how do you feel when you're with this person? Because we need to listen to ourselves. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to understand, do I feel safe? Are my needs being met here? What is my nervous system telling me? You know, uko kwa relationship but you're very jittery, unapata, you know, you're very anxious, your nervous system is a mess. So that is an indication, that's a red flag, that's your brain going, hey, you need to get out of here, we are dying here. Even if things seem okay. And the beauty of our bodies and our brains is once we pay attention, we will know what we need. We will indeed know what we need. So pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to that gut feeling. Pay attention to what your nervous system is telling you. You will know if you're with the right person.
Okay, but sex is spiritual.
You want us to talk about that?
Oh, no. I think we'll talk that behind the scene. Do you think it matters?
Yeah, it does matter, but I think what I'd like us to really focus on, because there's all that compatibility aspects and all that, is before you get there, there's a lot that you have to before you even get there. You know, you have to know who this person is. But it's also a very, very important aspect of intimacy.
All right.
Yeah.
Expectation.
Yeah.
Just to add on what you asked, there are those people who even ask, there are those people who are very aware that, you know what, my nervous system is telling me that I should leave. These are red flags, but I cannot. How should you tell us, how should they leave?
All right.
They know.
So you tell us after this short break.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation.
We'll have that. And also you'll tell us about the spirituality, you know.
Okay.
All right. So don't go too far. This is Social Wednesday, and of course the conversation is that one relationship that changed your life perspective. This is the Morning Drift. Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, kwa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi mazuri.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Feeling like unwinding and calming your nerves down after a long week? I'm Nika Kala. Join me on the Nakala Report this coming Friday and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on Lookup TV. At Nakala Report, we turn the insanity into sanity and sanity into insanity.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
right, thank you so much, AD, for those lovely countdown. Remember, this is just but the conversation on Social Wednesday, the morning drift, right here at Look Up Television. And of course, before we went for a break, we were having just a snip about our expectation and our experiences. Do you think that our experiences in different relationships would perhaps affect how we think, how we reason in that particular direction in the relationship? Make sure you get us hooked up on the social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube, and also across our website www.lookuptv.co.ke, and of course we'll read your feedback right here as we delve into the conversation. Purity, you talked about negative bias and confirmation bias. Please elaborate.
I'd love to. So there's concepts in psychology where we talk about biases and how they shape our perceptions. And of course, coming from experiences that we've had, we have different types of biases, and in terms of intimacy and relationship, we have a confirmation bias or a negative bias, and biases. So in terms of confirmation bias, something has happened to you, you've had an experience, and more often than not, I usually do this with a very simple example.
Right.
Ile siku utakuwa umevaa shati ya yellow, utaona kila mtu amevaa shati ya yellow. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. If you are thinking about a red car, you will see red cars. You understand?
Yeah, sure.
And so confirmation bias works in a way that your brain is always going to be looking for something to confirm what you already believe. You understand? And so if you have a belief that relationships suck, I'm a tough person, I'm independent, I don't need anyone, you will always get experiences, okay?
Right.
You'll always get experiences that confirm what you believe. So that's what confirmation bias is. So if you've had experiences from childhood, if you've had experiences with the relationships you've had, whether it's as you were kids, the kind of friends you had, the connections you had around you, and they were negative, it is going to reoccur because the story that you tell yourself matters a lot. So you really need to confront the thoughts because they shape your perceptions. Yeah.
All right, we'll come to comparison bias. but Anna, do you think, as what Purity had mentioned, you realized that this is confirmation or negative bias when you're a teen, or maybe when now your mind now starts to know what is happening in the society? Therefore, at that particular age now you realize that wazazi wangu hawakuwa watu ambao wanapendana sana. It's just that I was young and I didn't know about all this. So when I'm growing up, families don't behave like this.
Actually, Sesmo, let me tell you, as early as a child is around like 5 years, you see, so it goes to the unconscious. It's not like the subconscious. It's not like they don't understand what's happening. They might not understand at that time, but it records itself to the subconscious, and later it will come to project itself. Later it will come to show that, this is what is happening. And now later, after they are old enough to understand that, mom and dad are not in good terms, or rather, I'm in a dysfunctional family. And this happened, I had a client, and my client told me that when I was young, my mom used to tell me I have small ears, and let me just confirm the confirmation bias. And she believed it, but she never, this is your mom telling you that you have small ears, because she knows better, right? So this time she's old enough to pierce her ears, and then the person who was doing the piercing told her, no, I cannot do your piercing because they're so small. So she was like, so it confirmed what her parents, what her mom used to tell her every single time, that you have a very small ear.
Wanaanza kuzifunika.
Yeah, wanaanza kuzifunika. And again, if I was brought up in a dysfunctional family, and I was told, or rather I saw that relationships are in this manner, I'm going to maybe have the fear, and here is where fears comes in, depending on how you brought up, depending on how you saw relationships being handled, the kind of the intimate relationships
relationships are very dynamic in nature, and there's a lot of value that you have to have, including how do you resolve conflict.
Yep.
Part of being with someone else, whether it's in a romantic relationship, as a colleague, a neighbor, a friend, whatever relationship that looks like, you have to understand what is my fighting language. How do I address conflict? Because there are people who run. Where does that come from? There are people who get very aggressive. You understand?
Indeed.
So you cannot expect to raise a child unamshautia, unampiga, and then unamtusi, and then you expect them to handle an altercation in a different way. So the values that you impart on your kid, whether it's through what you do or what they see, expect that.
Indeed. So by the end of the conversation, and that is why earlier on I had asked about the relationship itself, then the change, then the perspective. So by the end of the conversation, I believe we would have tackled those three aspects. Then, of course, we had introduced the first singular, that is you as a person. As a person. Yeah. Then you guys have spoken about resolution. We've seen so many difficulties in embracing relationships. So the best solutions are it's either to embrace it or to commit suicide.
Hey. First of all, Moses, over time, thankfully, because of the fights we've been having around decriminalizing suicide, the language has changed. Suicide is no longer a criminal offense, yay, because we now understand the depths of it and where that comes from. This is a sick person. Okay, the same way mtu ako na malaria, kuna anaumwa na kichwa, umse mwenye na first, it's not commit suicide, you die by suicide. You die by suicide. So the same way someone dies by suicide, it could be someone died from malaria and things like that. But again, watu huachwa, watu huachana, things go bad. Things go left. And so not everyone takes their life. You understand? Which means if someone gets to a point where they take their life because of a relationship, the relationship was just a trigger. There were deep-set issues that were not addressed, and they came forth. By the way, relationship act as a it's like an amplifier to your issues. You had attachment issues, they will be seen. There's a line in a song I really like, Nasema, insecure people turn into insecure lovers, turn to insecure friends, or turn to insecure, it's a song. Right. It's a song. So what I'm trying to say is, you really have to deal with your issues first. You need to understand whether what are the parts of myself that I really need to
What if ni hao ndo nakukosea?
Mbona inakutrigger? Mbona inakutrigger? That is one. Number 2, mbona uliwachagua?
Foundation yako.
Number 2. Number 3, mbona uko hapo? Mbona you understand? And of course you understand there's a lot of layers to that. But looking inward helps you a lot to understand your outward, your environment. But I have to say that when we talk about change, our brains have this beautiful thing called neuroplasticity, that your brain just expands. Your brain can change. Your brain, thank God for our brains to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So you're able to change your perspective. You're able to change your internal experience because your brain allows you to do that. So CRT, all hope is gone because you're messed up. Your childhood was like a freak show, and then you had to grow up with that. The good news is that things you can do that can support you to have healthier, more, better connections with people, whatever that looks like.
Your brain zetu zikanakaa better. So, do you know what that means? All right. So maybe the foundation and ilikuwa mbaya. So when you're growing up, of course, vile tu amesema, you know, everything doesn't make sense to you. Everything is violence. If someone wrongs me now, I hold that. Because the foundation is that way. Easy transform. But now, because we shift gears, now above all, yes umekosewa, yes haujakosewa. but the mind needs to be very stable. So introduce to us now, where does mental health comes in?
In terms of?
The relationship.
Okay, all right. So mental health comes in terms of mental health comes in when you realize that, you know what, I'm not doing okay. And just to add, I think hiyo ndio inafanya ni baki bado Okech Moraa alisema, Moraa said that when a person decides to die by suicide, it does not just come at hivo, at what they were going through is what, you know, is what contributed to them dying by suicide.
Right.
It's just that a person piles up what we call repressing. You repress your feelings for way too long, and at that time, just a small things that happens, and then it's just like a balloon. When you inflate a balloon, and then it's very big, and then you just pick a very small needle, it's just it bursts. It's so when a person represses their feelings, and when something traumatic happens to them, or just that argument they had with the conductor, kurudishiwa change, and nimetusiwa na Moraa, nimekanyagwa, it's just that small. Sasa imenidunga nika explode. So you have
And just I think that comes down. I think kuna hii kesi ya the Super Metro.
Yeah, sure.
How does it come? Juu ya 30 bob, someone is thrown off the bus. That, you know, that I think what a lot of things we do in our country, just generally, to not treat the symptoms, not the actual issues.
Yeah.
Well, again, when we talk about mental health and the relationships that we have, it cuts across. Hakuna mahali yenye kuna binadamu hapo. The issues of mental wellness, mental health lazima pia ziwekwe. Yeah. So I always say, whether you're working in a company, whatever environment you're in, and they are human beings, ensure there's an aspect of mental wellness. Habu. Back to the conversation around relationships and mental health. You have to be aware of your own mental wellness. You have to take care of your mental wealth. What are the social aspects? You talked about what mental health, social, emotional, all that. Behave and feel. Think. Your emotions, your perceptions are shaped by all that. So come back to yourself and ask yourself these questions. What do I need? Because you don't want someone else, just like the way Annah did with the cups.
Yeah.
You want to meet people when you're full. So it's something mutual. It's something no one is taking away from the other. There's a sense of control that you have, and there's a sense of control that they have within that relationship that you have. Yeah.
When the relationship goes sour, who's affected the most? Is it the male or the female?
Both.
Both are affected.
Both are affected.
Na mwenye alianza shida?
Hiyo shida kianza, mbona lianza? Ni nini limfanya ianze? You know, again, you give what is inside of you. How messed up do you have to be to bring out the messiness, the chaos?
But in Kenya, ni nani wako affected sana?
So, in terms of both, again.
Our environment.
Dem ako kwa relationship peke yake, uchele kwa relationship peke yake. You understand?
Nani ana take long to heal?
Both. Again, depending with the type of relationship. You think it's us? Just, you know, just because we've taught our male counterparts to, you know, suppress, to be macho, to, you know, doesn't mean it doesn't affect them as much. Unaweza shanga kuwa it affects them more. Because for us girls, umepigwa heartbreak, unaenda beshte yako, Annah, by the way, nimekula heartbreak ingi, tunalia pamoja, you know.
But
for you, which becomes worse. When you repress, mio nasemanga nika uchafu na kifagia nyumba uneka chini ya carpet. Your carpet itaoza. You have to throw it away, and it will take it's a lot of work.
Practice makes perfect. So we make the muscles stronger.
That is not how it works when it comes to mental wellness. Exactly, your rebounds, unatoka tu relationship moja nyingine.
So that's the way they heal? That's a good way to heal?
It is not, I will say this categorically.
All right.
It is not a good way to heal. Go back to yourself. Realize, why was I in this relationship in the first place? Nini linileta hapa? What did I see? Because a lot of times we do what we call finding our wound mates. and we connect with them. We try to trauma bond, and it just hurts us. Understand? And when we do not show up as our authentic selves, we do not meet the right people, going back to compatibility.
Okay.
Understand?
Right.
Again, amazing example that Spirit uses, the life coach was telling you about. If you're a soft person, right, and you thrive in softness, you want to be taken care of, cuddles and all that, okay? Hizo vitu, you understand, okay? If you're not authentic, because you've been told, duniani vitu ni mbaya, soko ni chafu, hizo vitu zote, you understand? And then you decide, you know what, I'll just show up as a tough person. Who are you going to attract? The people who are attracted to tough people, because you're not showing up as your authentic self.
Right.
So, for example, in terms of color, think about it in terms of color. Softness, what color are you thinking? Soft, maybe white. You're a white, okay? But then you decide to shop as this different person who is not you. Color black. Okay? So you come out as black. The people who will see black will be attracted to black, and that is the person who because we choose people who want to be with, and they choose us. So if you attract people because you are looking like a black, you will never, ever meet people who see white and they want to be with white. You understand? So again, that plays a part in terms of how we show up for ourselves, and how we show up outside as authentic selves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So meaningful conversations, just as this one, help both partners feel comfortable expressing themselves. So this is especially important during challenging times when one or both of you need extra support and understanding. So knowing you can talk openly about anything can build a strong foundation for your relationship. So building the strong foundation and understanding the concept behind this particular relationship, hata ilifikaje tukaanza kuongelea hii story, ilifikaje that we
this was an important conversation to have.
Yeah, this is an important conversation, which now brings us to the elements of safe spaces for different relationships. How do we create a safe environment for all of us, that even how you speak, even how you react, sita feel huyu ni red flag tu hapa, how will we create that?
So the first safe space is you.
Absolutely, that's literally what I wanted to say.
The safest place is supposed to be inside you.
So to spend
work on yourself. Go for therapy. Jiamini. Be you, be the best version of yourself.
Because just allow me to just say, because once you create a safe space for yourself, you're also able to create a safe space for others.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you've tried so much kutengeneza your own safe space, but the society
once you shop authentically, watu wenye they're not compatible, watu wenye they will be threatened by authenticity. You understand?
Indeed.
So they will shy away from connecting with you because you're showing up as your authentic self. Unanielewa, yeah?
Right.
So it's showing up as your authentic self creates a safe space for those who are truly and genuine with their intentions about you. Exactly. Because when you shop authentically, you say, Mimi sipendi hii, this is me. Now, come as you are, but this is me. Indeed. So when someone is coming, venye anataka, they're like, okay, you see. Number two, conversations are very important from those. See, just because you're attracted to someone, I love this person, now let's fall in love, and now, or who says is cool, what are your levels of compatibility? Because we did talk about compatibility. What are your values? What are your inner strengths?
All right.
You understand? Yeah. So once you present this and have conversations around these things, they're very important. And also unaangalia pia, how do they relate? Uko kwa msena restaurant and wanatusi waiter ama waitress kwa sababu you're like, oh, okay, is this someone who's kind? What are their philosophies around life? And generally, this is not again about romantic relationship. I think we need to also stop romanticizing people too much. These are just human beings. Uni mse tu kama wewe. Human beings make mistakes, so let's not romanticize human beings too much. Yeah. But it's a matter of priority, but let's not put the Nini as number one as
Right. So when you ask your partner about their goals, aspirations and self-improvement efforts, you encourage them to reflect on their personal growth. This can be motivating and inspire both of you to become better versions of yourself. Anna, speak to us about encouraging oneself, because ulisema it begins with you, jitume is you, jipende is you.
I think for me, because I'm a psychologist, I would really advocate for therapy. you're going, you know, I usually tell people that be the one before finding the one. Can you please be the one? Be the one before finding the one. Yeah, sure. So, Sesmo, therapy is very important. Go for therapy. Heal fast, especially if you're self-aware that you know what, things are not okay. I'm handling relationships. I'm handling, and we said that it's not about intimate relationship. Like just cuts across. If you notice that I do not like my way of how I handle conflict, because it's very important. That's why Moraa said when you go for date, can you please check, be very observant. You know, they say love is blind. Love is not blind. It's an eye opener. It is going to open even your other eyes from this side. So it's good to check and see what does this person do when they're not okay. Do they withdraw? Do they, you know? So therapy is very important. Heal fast, become the best version of yourself.
And the therapy sessions, killer.
Yeah, therapy.
Okay. Also, an important thing to note is communication. How people really communicate or really speak. In the context of relationships, now what is the what is the relationship language that I should use?
Quite valid. Still, we have love languages, so it's quite valid.
What's communication the language in that particular relationship to maybe enhance or just encourage a good communication skill in that particular relationship?
Communication is a whole aspect on its own, Moses. But then in terms of relationship, let me find a way to bring it closer home to relationships. When we talked about how do you know this person is not good for me, because also your system goes, is this someone I can talk to, I can be open with, and can they listen? Because again, communication si kuongea tu, communication pia ni kufanya nini? Kusikiza. Yeah. So, and there's also again kuna different to listen and to comprehend what this person is saying. Juu mtu anasema talk to me, unamwongelesha ya kuelewi. Back to compatibility. So these issues are connected. They are very, very much connected. So listen, actively listen. Okay, not in a way you want to respond, because often we listen to respond. We don't even understand what this person is trying to say. And then if you're not in a space to even comprehend, just let them know. Again, showing up authentically. Don't want to understand again, connection with all these things.
Okay.
Yeah, showing up authentically.
Yeah. I believe we'll communicate further and further. Yeah. How can we reach out to a psychologist or a counselor? We'll start with Annah, then you give us your info. Yes.
I give my contacts, or what
how can we get in touch to you?
Okay, I'm in all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, IG. I'm Hannah Karuga, and yes, you can book a session with me. My number is 0716306617.
Therapist.
Yes.
Okay.
Therapist.
So I don't do one-on-one kind of therapies. I do community. So if it's a group of young people and you want to have conversations, create safe spaces for them, I'm your guy to call, you know. So across all social media platforms, Moraa Music, because I'm an artist, music official. So basically I use art, therapeutic, alternative therapeutic alternatives, art-based interventions to address issues around mental wellness and mental health. So again, Moraa Music Official across all platforms. You're going to find me there.
Thank you so much, Purity Moraa. Thank you so much, Annah Karuga, for your lovely time and insight about relationship. I also believe that my dear Sarah, of course, Newton and Tergat, Edgar, as well as Cyrus, and my director, Dante Marks, have also embraced the point on discussion, your relationship. I would really love to understand how their relationship is as far as intimate relationship, love relationship is concerned. But I think they'll brief me up after this session. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been having a conversation on that one particular relationship that changed your life perspective. Of course, that's the only way we could say it, but it never ends. So no, see you next time. That is tomorrow, even as we embrace Artistic Thursday. My name is Moses Okech. All right, this is the Morning Drift. We've embraced it to the fullest, and it's a deal done. Asanteni sana kwa